The Titanic Story, Part 1, A Dream Takes Shape. Soft, calm narration begins. Let's travel back to the early 1900s, to a time when the world was captivated by dreams of grandeur and technological achievement. Our story begins not on the ocean, but in a quiet dining room in London, where an idea that would change maritime history was born. It was the summer of 1907 when Lord William Peary, chairman of the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, sat down for dinner with J. Bruce Ismay, the managing director of the White Star Line. Over the course of that evening meal, these two men discussed something extraordinary. The White Star Line was facing fierce competition from rival shipping companies, particularly Cunard, which had just launched two record-breaking ships. Peary and Ismay envisioned something different. Rather than competing on speed alone, they would create ships of unparalleled luxury and comfort. Ships so magnificent that wealthy passengers would choose them for the experience itself. From that dinner conversation emerged plans for three sister ships, each more than 880 feet long. These would be the largest moving objects ever created by human hands. The first would be named Olympic, the second Titanic, and the third, Britannic. The Titanic's keel was laid down on March 31, 1909, at the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, Ireland. This massive facility, covering over 30 acres, was specially expanded to accommodate the construction of these enormous vessels. Over 3,000 workers reported to the shipyard each day, their hammers and rivets creating a symphony of industry that echoed across Belfast Harbour. For 26 months, an army of skilled craftsmen, labourers, riveters, and painters worked on transforming tons of steel and iron into something extraordinary. The ship's hull alone required over 3 million rivets, each one carefully heated and hammered into place by teams of men working in perfect coordination. The riveting crews worked so efficiently that they could install up to 200 rivets per hour, their rhythmic hammering becoming the heartbeat of the ship's creation. The scale of the construction was breathtaking. The Titanic weighed 46,328 gross tons when she was completed. To put this in perspective, she was nearly 100 feet longer than the height of the Washington Monument. Her massive hull towered 175 feet from keel to the top of her funnels, and she could carry over 2,400 passengers and crew. On May 31, 1911, a crowd of over 100,000 people gathered at the Belfast shipyard for the Titanic's launch. It was a Thursday, chosen carefully for the favorable tides. At 12:15 in the afternoon, with no formal ceremony or champagne christening, the enormous hull began to slide down the slipway. It took just 62 seconds for the massive ship to enter the water for the first time, her momentum slowed by 6 anchor chains, each weighing over 80 tons, and 2 piles of heavy drag chains. The splash she created sent waves rippling across the harbor, and the crowd erupted in cheers. The Titanic floated, majestic and incomplete, ready for the next phase of her transformation. Over the following 10 months, the Titanic was fitted out with everything she would need for her maiden voyage. Her 9 decks were constructed and furnished. The first-class accommodations were designed to rival the finest hotels in Europe, with a grand staircase that would become one of the ship's most iconic features, carved from English oak and wrought iron, and crowned with a glass dome that would bathe the space in natural light.